Our opening words are by Todd J. Taylor. Who can be certain where the self stops and the universe begins? When we breathe, it is the air from the passing wind that fills our lungs. To our nostrils drifts the fragrance of the woodland's flower. When we taste, it is of the earth's flavors and its saltiness. When we eat, it is of the field's corn and its wheat. When we open our eyes, they are filled with sunlight and starlight. Who can be certain where the self stops and the universe begins? Good morning. I'm Terry Donaldson. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Huntington's dual platform Sunday service. It is good to be together. We are streaming live from our main hall in Huntington, so please be patient with any technical mishaps you might see or hear. A big hello to all who are streaming with us on Zoom and Facebook this morning. We'd like to extend a special welcome today to visitors who may be joining our service for the first time, as well as any newcomers who are returning. If you are new and you would like to learn more about us and want to speak with someone, please contact us by email at office@uufh.org. We'll put this information in the chat for those of you streaming in. Know that whoever you are and whomever you love and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We do have a few brief announcements. If you have wished for a way to help some of the millions of refugees who have fled Ukraine and those who have remained in their war-devastated, once beautiful country, consider making your way over to St. John's Episcopal Church on Main Street in Huntington after the service today for a United for Ukraine fundraiser. This event is co-produced by Patricia Shee, St. John's Church, and the Cinema Arts Center. It will be an all-day event beginning at 12:30 at St. John's Church. There are movies being shown at Cinema Arts as well. It is a special day in that our own UUFH Queasels will be giving their farewell performance beginning sometime around 5:45 at St. John's Church. There is a $30 suggested donation, and the proceeds will benefit the World Central Kitchen and direct relief for medical services. Please see our website, news and announcements, as well as our flash for more details. We have a message from our pastoral care team. We hope that you and yours are healthy. Please share your good news with us so we can celebrate with you, or share the changes and transitions that are difficult so that we can assist you. Please reach out to Sue McGovern or our office. Information is in our flash. And finally, our UUFH directory is being updated. If your contact information has changed, please send current information to our office administrator, Sandra, at office@uufh.org. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Beth Finger, who will bring us some good news. Beth is the project director for HUMuS, not HUMUS, HUMuS, Huntington Mobilization for Sustainability. She is also a naturalist in the Outdoor Education Department of Nassau BOCES. Prior to this, Beth has worked for 25 years in the Jewish community and was the founder of Jewish Without Walls, JWOW. Please join me in welcoming Beth. And now I invite you to relax your body, quiet your mind, and breathe deeply together as we settle into our time of worship. Please join me in saying our mission statement. The words are on the screen. In religious community, we nurture our individual spirits through caring for one another and helping to heal the world. This is the time for our chalice lighting, the symbol of our faith. We light this chalice for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circle of life in which we have our being, for the earth, the sky above and below, and for our Mother Earth, and for the mystery.
Change the world with my own two hands. Make a better place with my own two hands. Make a kinder place with my own two hands. With my own two hands. With my own two hands.
T'as changé mon avec des mémoires, fais un monde qui vit bon avec des mémoires, fais un monde qui vit douce avec des mémoires, avec des mémoires, avec des mémoires.
Gonna make it a brighter place. Gonna make it a safer place. I'm gonna help human rights with my own two hands.
Je veux changer le monde
Avec mes deux mains,
faire un monde meilleur,
avec mes deux mains,
faire un monde plus doux,
avec mes deux mains,
avec mes
deux mains, avec mes deux mains, avec mes
And now I invite us all to sing Spirit of Life. Following the song, we will enter into a time of silence and then prayer. As you participate here and at home, remember that it is not about the perfection of silence, but the intention. Join with me in singing. Spirit of life and love, we are here because we believe what we do matters. We are here because we believe how we live our life matters. That with every act of kindness or meanness, courage or fear, love or hate, we are weaving the fabric of the universe that holds us all. We are here because we need encouragement, because we need strength, because so often we get distracted, we get in a rush, we don't think, we choose the easy way, when the harder path is what our spirits truly long for. We are here because none of us is perfect, but together we inspire one another to try again, to take another step. We are here because we have felt the stirrings of love and grace in our hearts and hands, and we crave more of that for ourselves, and not only ourselves, for everyone. We are here because how we live matters. Blessed be. I will now read the joys and concerns given to me before the service. We invite you in the future to either write your joys or concerns on a sheet of paper before the service begins, or email them to us in advance. I'm delighted to share that Judy Green is home from the hospital and welcomes calls and texts. For those streaming, please write the names in the chat box so they may be read aloud. Thank you for showing us Playing for Change. We have a hello from Nikki Willard from Leeds Island, Connecticut. May they be well. May they feel the love that surrounds them. Let us take a moment to give thanks for the blessings emerging even now. We close with a few more breaths in silence. May it be so. Amen. For July and August, our offering will be shared with the Grow to Give Garden. This summer, UUFH's own Grow to Give Garden is celebrating its 10th year of growing organic vegetables and fruit, all of which is donated to local food pantries such as Long Island Cares. The garden relies on its budget to supplement donations of tools, seeds, compost, and routine upkeep and maintenance. This year, the Grow to Give Garden volunteers are expanding their focus to give back to Mother Nature by eliminating invasive weeds and introducing native plants that will provide for the birds, bees, and other pollinator insects. Help us create a more ecologically healthy and sustainable garden. You can send a check to the office or donate through the website as seen on your screen. We will have a basket circulating here in the main hall. You can also donate through the Vanco mobile app, which can be found on the App Store or Google Play.
Our next reading is from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel from his book, God in Search of Man. Our goal should be to live life in radical amazement. Get up in the morning and look at the world in a way that takes nothing for granted. Everything is phenomenal. Everything is incredible. Never treat life casually. To be spiritual is to be amazed. The meaning of awe is to realize that life takes place under wide horizons, horizons that range beyond the span of an individual life, or even the life of a nation, a generation, or an era. Awe enables us to perceive in the world intimations of the divine, to sense in small things the beginning of infinite significance, to sense the ultimate in the simple, to feel in the rush of the passing the stillness of the eternal. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's great to be here. From the minute I got out of my car, I was just so impressed with the beautiful gardens all around, and I can't wait to go look at the Memorial Garden and the Grow to Give Garden. It's really special to be here. And in anticipation of coming, I didn't know too much about UU, so of course I went on the website and I looked at the 7 principles, which I've never seen something resonate so much with me. Like, all of those principles really it meant a lot to me, but especially the 7th one, which is the one that I know you've chosen for this summer, which is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And I like how you have the child-friendly version, which is, we need to take care of the earth. So that really resonated with me, and I'm so glad to be here to talk about it, because I have always had a connection to nature. And I think that that's because I grew up in a house that had tons of pets, We had everything. We had dogs, rabbits, chinchillas, tortoises, salamanders, guinea pigs, mice, hamsters, you name it, we had it. My mother's birthday is on April 22nd, which is Earth Day, and we really think of her as Mother Earth. There was one time where she tried to breed a blue guinea pig, don't ask me why, and we had a house of about 50 guinea pigs, but no blue guinea pig. And in the summers, we would pack up all the animals with us into the station wagon, and we'd go upstate to the bungalow colony. And while we were there, if there was any little hurt, chipmunk or bird, it always came to our bungalow for rehabilitation. And my father put up with this, and I think he also enjoyed it to some extent. He was a science teacher, and I sometimes brought his work home with him also. It was not unusual to open the refrigerator and find, the lungs of a cow, because he wanted to show how if you blow air into them with a straw that they expand. So I was always grew up around all of this nature stuff. So my dad just turned 91 years old, and he is the most optimistic person that I know. He's just someone who always thinks that things are going to improve. And maybe that's how he made it to 91. But I think of my father when I start to feel hopeless about everything going on in the world, and especially about the climate crisis, or as scientists have deemed it now, the climate emergency. Now, I'm naturally an optimist, but I do suffer from eco-anxiety. So I just feel stress every day because of what humans are doing to the environment, and therefore the people, the animals, and all living things. Does anybody else here feel that eco-anxiety? Yeah. So it's to the point where, even when I hear about the shark attacks, all I think about is oh, well, that's our fault because of climate change and the warming waters, so all the more dangerous sharks are coming up north. When I hear about the wildfires out west, I think, well, that's our fault because of the warming temperatures and the droughts that are happening. And it's so bad that, this is really bad, but when there's a holiday weekend like July 4th, I just think of all the meat going on the grill and how that one weekend alone is contributing to climate change because, factory farming of meat is one of the biggest contributors of greenhouse gases. So, this is something that I'm really feeling. And even ticks, the tick infestation on Long Island? It's horrible, and it's partly due to our warming climate. So let's face it. Humans are the most destructive, invasive species ever to roam the earth. But we are also the smartest, most innovative, and most resourceful species ever to roam the earth. And the title of today's talk is Good News. So we can help ourselves and our planet. And in fact, we already have the tools and technology in existence. We just have to have the will and the mindset to do it. Now, it's easier in some ways for people to just think the worst and, throw up their hands and in frustration, nothing changes no matter what we do. Or, exhaustion, I'm so tired of being the only one who cares about this. Or anger, I hate people and their selfishness. Or sadness, it's too sad, I don't even want to look anymore. So once we throw up our hands, we don't have to do anything. And that's easier than the alternative, which is to fight for change. And change has come due to the hard work of lots of people and organizations. There has been a lot of progress. So I want to look at 3 areas: culture, technology, and law. So let me give you some examples. First, we've had progress in culture. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but on the news now, just about every day, I hear about climate change. And it's stated as fact. And when they talk about the various weather events, which is practically every day at this point, they're almost always tying it to climate change. And that's good. People need to see the connection between the flooding in Kentucky. I hear them talking about it totally connected to climate change. 2 weeks ago, the Pope, who has 1.3 billion followers in the world, called climate change an emergency. So this is all very, very good. There's also been progress in technology. There are a lot of smart people working on this. This isn't just something that we're talking about right here. Everybody knows about it. All the universities, all businesses, it's good for business. Everybody's working on this problem. And we have the solutions right now that we need to stop climate change. We just need to use them. There is going to be a transition to clean energy, meaning solar, water, wind, and geothermal. The only question is whether we can do it quickly enough. Here are some things that are happening right now. So right off Long Island in February, they started building the first of 5 wind farms, offshore wind farms. So that should be operational by 2023, but once all 5 are running, which will take several years, it will bring wind power to 2.4 million homes in New York. Scientists are also working on new land management practices that actually can get carbon, which is from fossil fuels, and sequester it in the ground. It's called carbon sequestration. And this practice, they think, is one of the keys to solving climate change. There is someone out there who invented a way to use algae to power lights. And we know we have plenty of algae. A company has figured out how to turn methane, which is a dangerous greenhouse gas, into a plastic alternative that can decompose. There is a giant vacuum cleaner for smog that literally sucks pollution out of the air. So there are many, many fantastic innovations happening around the world. So there is hope. Now the question is whether the transition is politically realistic. So, politics. It's been a roller coaster ride. A few weeks ago, you may have heard the Supreme Court took away some of the Environmental Protection Agency's federal power, and Congress failed to pass the sweeping climate legislation that we were all hoping for. But then, on Thursday, everything changed. It looks like Congress will actually be able to pass a $369 billion climate and tax bill. This will pump billions into zero carbon technology, all these things that I just mentioned, away from fossil fuels to this clean energy. And it'll scale up all of these great technologies, and it can result in as much as a 40% greenhouse gas emissions reduction by 2030. That's not that far away, within reach of the US pledge in the Paris Agreement, and closer to what scientists say we need to do to avert the worst of the climate outcomes. So this is amazing, surprising news, and something that many organizations have been fighting for years. But this does not mean that our work is done, because local grassroots actions are still very important. Local organizations like Citizens Campaign for the Environment, the Nature Conservancy, the Long Island Progressive Coalition have been advocating also for environmental legislation here in New York, and they also had some nice successes in the last legislative session that just ended. For example, they won protections for an additional 41,000 miles of streams in New York. An additional 1 million acres of fresh wetlands are now protected. And the Environmental Protection Fund was funded at an all-time high of $400 million. That's just in New York. That will support all kinds of really important environmental programs. So how is all of this accomplished? Well, definitely not by the people who were throwing up their hands in anger and frustration and sadness. No, that's for sure. It was the people and the organizations that kept hope alive and were persistent. When the laws didn't pass one year, they worked twice as hard to try to get them passed the next year. And there is much yet to be done. Not everyone can invent a smog vacuum cleaner. So think about yourself, your network of people, and what interests you the most. Just find one thing. I found that doing something can help with my eco-anxiety. It helps me to feel empowered and helps me to meet other people who share my interests. So here are some things that I've done locally, and maybe you can too. Oyster gardening. One oyster, I don't know if you know this, can clean up to 50 gallons of water a day, one little oyster. There are efforts right here in Huntington to grow baby oysters that will become oyster reefs and be put into the Long Island Sound. So if you're interested in volunteering, they need volunteers, you can contact the Huntington Rotary Club. Invasive plant pulls. So I'm so happy to hear that you're starting in your garden outside. You are going to be pulling out the invasives and putting in native plants. This is great for our native ecosystem. You can do that right here. You can also do it at Quandra Hall, I believe, has weekly invasive species plant pulls, and all different organizations. It's hard work, but it is satisfying. Beach cleanups. I mean, this is something, whenever I go to the beach, I just bring a bag with me and pick up the litter that I see, but there's also organized beach cleanups by different organizations like Friends of the Bay, so you can look into that. Citizen science, do you love animals? Well, you can help to track them and report your findings through a great local organization called CTUC. Plastic, oh my. So, guess how much plastic actually gets recycled in this country? 9%. That's it. So even though you feel like you're doing good by putting your plastic in the recycling, only 9% actually gets turned into something else. So, and plastic's a double whammy because you're using fossil fuels to manufacture plastic, and then we know that there's plastic litter all over the place, and there's just nowhere left to put all of our garbage, especially on Long Island. So we've heard the phrase reduce, reuse, recycle, yeah? So I want to add to that something. Refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. Now, I think about this all the time now. In fact, is anybody here a country music fan? Do you like Maren Morris? I don't know. She was just on the Today Show in their summer concert series this past Thursday, and I went out to see her since I'm a fan of hers. And so I was out there very early in the morning waiting for her show. And they started coming out, giving out all kinds of freebies to everyone who was waiting. So they had like hats and fanny packs and necklaces and fake microphones, just all kinds of things. And at first, I'm putting out my hand to get all the stuff like everybody else. And then I stopped and I thought, wait, what am I going to do with all this stuff? I'm going to take it home and I'll probably hang on to it for a couple of days because I'll feel bad. And then I'm going to end up throwing it in the garbage. So I refused, and I did not take all of those things. And you know what? I had a great time. I didn't need all that stuff. So just remember now, just think, refuse. Ziploc bags. Just don't use them to pack your lunch and your snacks. There are other things that you can do. When you go to the supermarket and buy fruits and vegetables, don't use those plastic bags. When I see people putting bananas into a plastic bag in the supermarket, I just want to scream. Plastic single-use water bottles, they are all over the place. You don't need them. Look, you can just use this. And just overall, and this is something I've been thinking, like when you go to Home Goods, I know it's so tempting, there's so many things around, but just don't buy it. Like, just think to yourself, like, channel Marie Kondo. Like, is this really sparking joy? Do I really love this? Do I need this? Chances are probably no, so just don't buy extra stuff. Other things you can do, there's power in money. If you have investments, you can divest from fossil fuel companies. And so many people are doing this now that it's really become an issue for investment groups. You can and should donate to our local environmental groups who are working really hard for our environment. There's also power in your vote. Join up with a local organization to lobby our local elected representatives. Now, this is done on Zoom now all the time. It couldn't be more convenient. Do you know who your local assembly person is and your local state senator? If not, look them up. Get in touch with them. I took on a big volunteer project in Smithtown, where I'm a parent, in the school district. I started a green team last year, and let me tell you, it caught on so quickly. There is a lot of traction. There's a lot of interest in this, and we've already made some big changes. The school just purchased 2 electric lawnmowers and 2 electric security vehicles. So this is amazing news, and in this bill, this $369 billion bill that hopefully Congress will pass next week, there's $1 billion in there for electric vehicles, including electric school buses. So you know I'm getting right on that in September. So professionally, I am the project manager at HUMuS, like the soil, Huntington Mobilization for Sustainability, and that's how I've met some of the people here and online today. So we are a community organizing effort to bring Huntingtonians together through our shared interest in and concern for the environment. Now, if you'd like to meet other people who are interested in the environment and learn about local environmental challenges and meet people in the organizations who are trying to solve these problems, then keep a lookout for the second cohort of the Huntington Greening Fellowship that we'll be offering in the fall. The fellows meet several times over the course of a number of weeks, mostly over Zoom, but we also have like a really great field trip. And you can ask Debbie Hosevar about it. I think she's backstage, since she was actually as part of our first cohort of fellows. HUMuS is also planning an interfaith beach cleanup on Sunday afternoon, October 2nd, so mark your calendars. So the churches, synagogues, the mosque, the religious centers from all over Huntington will all be coming out to clean one of our local beaches. And save the date, October 16th, for the Huntington Environmental Festival, where you'll also get to meet the local organizations who are working really hard for our environment. We are using the climate crisis to build community, and that goes right to Principle 7, we are an interdependent web. Once we come together, who knows what will happen? The possibilities are limitless. As Rabbi Tarfon, the first century scholar, said, "It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it." And this was echoed by the Dalai Lama, who said, "To remain indifferent to the challenges we face is indefensible. If the goal is noble, whether or not it is realized within our lifetime is largely irrelevant. What we must do, therefore, is to strive and persevere and never give up." Thank you.
My words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung. Would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down, the thoughts unbroken. Perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know, don't really care. Let there be some fill the air. Ripple in still water when there is no pebble toss, no wind to blow. Reach out your hand if your cup is empty, if your cup is full, it be again, let it be known. There is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is a road, no sample highway between the dawn and the dark
you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home.
I hope you feel as inspired as I do today. And before we extinguish the chalice, I just have to express my gratitude to Beth for bringing us the good news today. I'd like to thank our Sunday program committee, Jim Monnier, for an inspiring service today, and our tech crew, Debbie and Dave. I don't think Jim's there today. And Isabella, as always, thank you for your music this morning. And we'll extinguish the chalice with these words. May the firmness of the earth be yours. May the flow of water be yours. May the freedom of air be yours. May the fierceness of the fire be yours. May all of the gifts of this life, the below and the above, be with you now and remain with you always. And now, Isabella. Go in peace with the knowledge of our interconnectedness and reminded that our own two hands can change the world. There are cold drinks for those of you in-house. Chairs will be set up out on the patio if you'd like to chat. For those of you at home, have a wonderful day.